Hey guys, this is the Architect here, and welcome to another Genshin Impact video. So in this video, we're going to talk about something massive that MiHoyo just announced. They're not only buffing Zhongli with some massive, really massive buffs, but also they are going to buff the entire Geo element as a whole. So all other Geo characters, Ningguang, Noelle, the Albedo, which is the next 5-star character that's coming up, they're all getting buffed, and pretty massively. You see, the Geo element has become sort of a meme for many people because it's a defensive element in a game where what people want to do is just deal massive amounts of damage. It doesn't do elemental reactions that enhance your damage, and people got turned down for that. All right. Now, Zhongli, when Zhongli came out, people wanted to use him as a DPS because he's literally the coolest looking character in the game. Right, this is this badass guy in a black suit, so, and his normal attacks look quite awesome. But it turns out that his physical attack is pretty literally like the lowest in the game, the output. I mean, even Xiangling deals more damage than him with his normal attacks. He deals more attack percent. So it was really underwhelming because why do you make the best looking character in the game, or the coolest one, and you make him a support character, which is only supposed to spam his ult and drop the shield, and then you switch to your main DPS. The people didn't like that. All right, so they just fixed that, and now we're gonna talk about that. So without further ado, let's get into the changes that MiHoyo just announced. So regarding adjustments to Zhongli, recently we have received a lot of questions and feedback regarding Zhongli, yada yada yada, but let's get to the important thing. All right, this is just a bunch of filling stuff. So adjustments to passive talent Dominance of Earth. So increase planet befall damage by an amount equal to 33% of Zhongli's max HP. All right, that's what it currently does in the game. Now, before a lot of people rage, it's still gonna do that. All right, we still keep, after the adjustments, they're still gonna keep that. So it's not like they're nerfing that part. All right, so we're still getting that, but additionally, we're getting all this other stuff additional to the 33% increase. So the damage dealt by the following Zhongli's attacks will be increased based on his max HP: normal, charge, and plunging attacks. All right, so this is a straightforward buff to his normal attack. So they are now moving Zhongli more to a DPS position, as the community actually wanted him to be. So over here you can see this is a very low level of Zhongli, because I mean his damage is in the hundreds. But anyway, you can see over here, this is before and this is after. You can see there's a considerable percentage increase in his damage. Now, the Stone Steel Resonance and Holding Mode damage of Dominus Lapidus will be increased by 1.9% of max HP. So this is before, this is after. You can see there is a considerable percentage increase on that as well. And we still have the previous effect, right? So, but additionally, so it's not going to be just an ult spam machine anymore. It's also going to deal more damage overall. So adjustments to Dominus Lapidus holding mode effect. So causes a nearby Geo element to Geo energy to explode, causing the following effects: creates a shield of Jade, pretty much the standard for every shield out there. So it has 250% efficiency against his own element, which is in this case the Geo element. Deals AoE Geo damage, and if there's any nearby targets with the Geo element, it will drain a large amount of Geo element for a maximum of 2 such targets. This effect does not cause damage. Okay, so post adjustment effect. So what is it gonna do now? So if the maximum number of Stone Steelies has not yet been reached, it will create a Stone Steely. This is massive because right now, when you start a fight, you need to switch. If you're using Zhongli as your main DPS, you need to pick between two things. Either you spawn your shield and you begin the fight protected, or you spawn your Geo construct to deal more damage. So you need to select one of those and then wait for the cooldown of one of or the other to get the other effect. Now you're going to be able to have both effects at the same time, exactly at the same time. So you don't have to wait for cooldown as an opener. So you can literally open with having both effects running at the same time, which is awesome. So create a shield of, now the next effect creates a shield of Jade. The shield damage absorption scales based on Zhongli's max HP, just as before. But now it has additional efficiency to physical damage, 150%, and elemental damage absorption. Okay, so before it was only an additional 250% to Geo element only. All right, 250% to Geo element only efficiency. Now they reduce the Geo elemental absorption to 150%, but now it has additional elemental absorption against everything. So this is overall, Geo shields are going to be overall the most powerful shields in the game. Overall, deals AoE Geo damage just as before. If there are nearby targets with Geo element, it will drain a large amount of Geo element for a maximum of 2 seconds. So same as before. This adjustment will also greatly increase the interruption resistance of Dominus Lapidus holding mode. So here's the thing: while you were casting this, you were still vulnerable to crowd control effects such as this. So people could, so the mobs could literally do this to you. Now you're gonna be invulnerable to that while you're casting the effect, which is great. Adjustment to Geo resonance enduring rock. It increases. So this is what you get when you have 2 or more Geo element characters in your party. Right, increases resistance to interruption when protected by a shield, increase attack damage by 15%, and now what's going to happen is increases shield strength by 15%. Additionally, characters protected by a shield will have the following special characteristic: damage, overall damage dealt. So this was increased attack damage by 15%. Now it's increased overall damage dealt by 15%, plus additional 15% shield. Dealing damage to enemies will decrease their Geo resistance by 20% for 15 seconds. So this is gonna not only make you deal more damage, not only gonna give you more shield, but also is gonna decrease your enemy's resistance against Geo by 20%. You're gonna deal a lot more damage because you're not only gonna have this, but also this. So it's gonna be crazy. Now Geo shields balance adjustments. Geo shields are adjusted from having 250% Geo damage absorption only to having 150% damage absorption against everything. Physical and elemental damage absorption. Effective shields include Geo shield created by Zhongli, Geo shield created by Noel, Geo shield created by picking up Geo crystals dropped by Geo Bishop hatchlings. So this is a massive buff for Geo. So in a previous video, I said that Geo is pretty much like the greedy element because it doesn't rely on other elements to work. You see, for example, Ningguang is one of the top DPS in the game. She doesn't require elemental reactions to work properly, and she deals massive damage. So Geo is the greedy element because it pretty much you only need Geo to make Geo work. You don't need anything else. You can use it with something else, but you can do it with Geo alone. So Ningguang doesn't need elemental reactions to work properly. And now with this, what's going to happen is that she's going to work even better with other Geo characters. And now they're buffing Zhongli in a way that he will be better as a DPS. So now we have Zhongli and we have Ningguang which are going to be two completely viable main DPS. Ningguang is already a completely viable main DPS. Zhongli can be used as a DPS, but it's not the best DPS in the game, and his damage is pretty underwhelming compared to other DPS, especially if you take elemental reactions in consideration. Now, right now it is possible to build Zhongli as a DPS, but he's not going to be as good as others. So, also, because of these buffs, this is going to be crazy with the retracing ball-eyed set. You see, because right now, the current Geo buff, what you get from having 2 or more Geo characters in your party, what it does is increases his resistance to interruption when protected by a shield by when protected by a shield, increases attack damage by 15%. All right. So what happens is if you have Zhongli as main DPS and you're using this artifact set, you're gonna have an increased shield of 35%. All right, and you're also gonna have on your main DPS, as your carry DPS. While protected by a shield, you gain an additional 40% normal and charge attack damage. So if you add the Geo bonus from having 2 or more characters on your team, there's going to be 55% damage, additional damage, for having a shield. And also you're going to have a stronger shield, which is increased by 35%. Now, with the new buffs, what's going to happen is you're going to have total 50% shield, additional shield strength. If you add the 15% from the new Geo patch, plus 55% additional damage when you have a shield. This is from the effects of the retracing bolide set, plus the new Geo Buffs after patch, whenever you have a shield on. Not only that, okay, so you already have 55% additional damage and 50% increase on your shield, which is a shield that is going to work efficiently against every single element, not just its own element. But also, if you have this weapon, which was specifically designed for Zhongli, increase shield strength by an additional 20%, and this is on refined level 1, alright? So, if you have retracing bolide, if you have and if you have 2 or more characters on your team that are of the Geo element, and if you have this, you're gonna have a shield that is increased by 70% total. That's a refinement level 1 with this Vortex Vanquisher. Alright, if you have it as a refinement level 5, it's going to be 40%, for a grand total of 90% increase on your shield. Alright, but yeah, that's pretty well intensive. I mean, even having this weapon is a little bit well, it depends on your luck. But anyway, but even if you don't have this, you can still make Zhongli a very viable DPS, because you can perfectly use this Crescent Pike, which is one of the craziest DPS weapons in the game. It's the damage it deals is ridiculous. Alright, but if you have this, I totally recommend you to use it instead. If not, this is a completely free-to-play weapon that you can use. And you get it from, it's a prototype you can craft, so it's completely viable as well. Alright, so what MiHoyo is doing, it makes complete business sense, because I mean, they're making most of their money from the banners, and if they have a character that is very underwhelming, they're obviously losing sales. So they not only buffed Zhongli, not only they're gonna buff Zhongli very, very intensively, they're also gonna buff Albedo, which is the next Geo character that's gonna come up right after Zhongli on the next banner. So as soon as Zhongli is gone, we're gonna have Albedo, which is another Geo character. So it makes total sense that they're doing this. They finally heard the community, and now we have a Geo 5-star that was considered underwhelming by a lot of people. To me, it was actually a good character. It's actually my favorite character. And even though it's not the best DPS in the game, I like the character, so I was using it as one of my main DPS. The other one was Ning Wang. So I have 2 DPS, one for single target DPS, and the other one was for AoE DPS, because I have her in max constellation, and with this constellation you can have a AoE damage. So but now they're taking Zhongli, they're buffing him, and they're making him hands down the most overpowered character in the game, because now you take a tank, which pretty much it was designed, according to MiHoyo, it was designed to, on a previous post, to focus on support. So what he was supposed to do is just take the shield out and then ult spam whenever you have your energy ready. That's it. And with pretty much almost close to none screen time, just like Barbara, you just use Barbara to spam heals, and that's it. But now people are gonna be able to use it as a main DPS in a more viable way, because they're buffing his main damage a lot, his physical damage. Now I actually have a physical damage cup because I use it like that. But now, yeah, guys, so they took a tank, which is supposed to be used as a support character. They're turning into a main DPS character. And if you see Zhongli's videos as they are right now, you will be able to find people on YouTube doing soloing Clyde, literally soloing Clyde without anything else. It's ridiculous. Taking 0 damage. If you see, for example, soloing Flar 12, taking 0 damage, it's completely viable. But now you're gonna be able to do that without. I mean, you're gonna be able to still do that, but now you're gonna be able to do it more efficiently. That's what I mean. So yeah, guys. Now, before we wrap up, I do videos, review videos, build guides, etc. Of Genshin Impact pretty often. I stopped doing that for a while because I was hacked, as I said in a previous video. I have every single character in the game, and fortunately I recovered my account. But I talk about that in a previous video. But anyway, I have every single character in the game, and I do reviews videos. My plan is to level every single character to level 90. And do build guides for every single one of them. So if you like such content, feel free to subscribe. And until next time.